I'm Jordan Banderas, also known as The Bad Influence, and welcome back to another episode of the Bad Influence podcast. Before we begin, don't forget to hit that subscribe or follow button so you don't miss out on any episodes. On today's episode, I want to talk about this particular phrase that we always use and the beauty behind it. Because this particular phrase is the one where everyone tells you, oh, it's easier said than done. Probably you have heard it, probably you have used it as well. And the reason why I want to talk about this is because recently one of my friends asked me what are my goals when it comes to the podcast. He was all like, hey, Jordan, what exactly are your goals with the podcast? Like, where do you want to take it? How big you want to grow? What exactly you want to do? When my friend asked me this particular question, I was taken aback because it made me realize that my wife is the only one that actually knows my goals when it comes to the podcast. So I was like, you know what? I have never shared this with anybody, so I'm going to share it with my friend. And I told him that I'm aspiring to become one of the greatest motivational speakers in the world, one of the greatest podcasters in the world, and I want to have the number one podcast in the world. But it's not because of the money or the fame or anything like that. It's because with that fame and money that comes with this goal, I want to build something that actually helps people. I want to create or build a better healthcare system that actually focuses on the patient, not on profit. I want to do so much for people because I've been dirt broke, dirt poor. I have seen people suffer. I have seen my wife suffer, like I have mentioned on previous episodes. I have seen her suffer, and because of that, I understand people suffering as well. So I want to do something about it because anytime I see somebody suffer, it reminds me of my wife. And I hate that. That's a feeling that I can't handle. It's too painful for me. So I want to help people because when you help people, at least just a little bit to prevent them from suffering a certain way, from food insecurity or something like that, then they're going to be able to focus on themselves to actually build something for themselves. They don't have to worry about food. They don't have to worry about having a roof over their heads or medical bills, shit like that. So that's why I want to do this and become one of the greatest, because that's why I want to build. When my friend heard all of this, his first reaction was to say, oh, that's easier said than done. That's what he said. When I first heard that, I kind of felt offended because I was like, this fool doesn't know me, doesn't know that I'm going to achieve that I'm pushing myself hard every day to actually become where I say I want to become. And it also made me realize that he's right. He is actually right. It's easier said than done. And when I came to that realization, I said to my friend, I was like, of course it's easier said than done. Look, and I repeated myself. I actually was like repeating myself to him. It's like, see, it's easier said than done. But when my friend heard this, he said, hey, don't get mad. I'm just telling you, it's easier said than done. And all I said to him was, I know you're just saying it, but I'm not mad. I'm not mad at all. The only reason why I'm getting all emotional about it is because you're right. It's easier said than done, and I just realized that I need to stop dreaming about it. I need to stop talking about it, and what I need to do is actually work for it. What I need to do is literally put in the work. Stop saying to myself, I'm going to become and then start becoming that person. Because one of the things about me is that I'm huge on manifesting. So in my mind, while I was talking to my friend about this, I just kept repeating myself where I was going to become or where I'm going to become. And I even told my friend, like, this is how I think. This is my new mindset. This has been my mindset for a while, where I keep telling myself over and over and over again what I'm going to become and the steps that I need to do, or the steps that I need to take so I can actually become that person that I want to or that I need to become. That's pretty much this type of conversation that I have with my friend. And one of the things that I also told him is like, thank you for making me realize that I need to stop talking about it, and I need to stop working towards it. I need to start actually doing the work, putting in the work, showing the results, so people can actually see that it's not just easier said than done, because you also have to put in a lot of work. So after I had this conversation with my friend, I started thinking about this particular phrase. And like I said, there's a beauty behind it. And that beauty is that when you start doing the work, you start feeling good about yourself. You start proving people wrong. You start showing people that you can do the hard shit. That you can actually do something that you thought it was impossible. And that's the beauty of this particular phrase. Because when you do all of that, at that point, this phrase means that you are strong, that you are resilient, that you actually are one tough SOB that was able to achieve things that everybody thought was impossible. That's what it means to me. And one of the things that I realized about people, and this is one thing that I used to do a lot before, was that I used to think that this particular phrase was true for everything. I used to quit everything I was aiming for. If I wanted to become, let's say, a soccer player when I was in high school or something like that, I would quit, because I was like, it's easier said than done. And a lot of people have that mindset right now. When people say to themselves, I'm going to become this, I'm going to become, let's say, a successful manager, a successful speaker, or something, whatever your dream is. For some reason, people right now tell themselves that, oh, it's easier said than done. I don't have the time. And what happens when we keep repeating that particular phrase and we believe it to be true, we start looking for obstacles. We start creating those obstacles. We start literally believing that this particular phrase means that everything is impossible, that we cannot achieve the things that we want to achieve. And like I said, that's how I used to think a few years ago. But by realizing the beauty of this particular phrase, I also started pushing myself out of that mindset where I was holding myself back. And what I also realized is that in order for me to realize the beauty of this particular phrase and to show people that this phrase means nothing when you put in the work, I have to go into this climb. I have to give 100% to this climb. I have to climb that Mount Everest. I have to literally be willing to learn from every mistake. Because when I'm able to achieve my goal, I'll be able to take care of my wife. I'll be able to build everything that I want to develop. And more importantly, I'll be able to help others. I'll be able to alleviate some of people's suffering because I don't like to see people suffer. That's my main goal because I have seen suffer. Like I said, I have seen my wife suffer, and it's not a thing that I like to see. I recently I saw one of my friends. Also, she's going through a lot, and her face showed me the suffering. It's the same face that I see with my wife when she suffers, and I was like, you know what? I need to do something. So I'm trying to support her. That's pretty much one way of supporting her. Like I try to support her. Like, hey, if you need to talk, I'm here. And I know that whatever you're going through, you can get through it, and it's easier said than done. But with the right support system, you're gonna get through it. That's one of the other beauties about this particular phrase is that you can say it to people, but you also can relate to them the message that says like you can actually get through this. Yes, it's easier said than done, but you're stronger than you think. And I see that on you. That's one of the beauties about this. And what this particular phrase taught me was that no matter how big your vision is, all you have to do is work towards that one thing or things that you want to accomplish, and to not let the opinions of others sway you from what you want to do. Because probably you have people around you that when you tell them what you want to do, they use this particular phrase to bring you down. They use this particular phrase because of their own limiting beliefs. So they want to pass that on to you. But if you stick to your vision and work hard towards it, you'll be able to reach that goal, wherever it is. Wherever you want to become, you can actually do it. And in the end, when you actually achieve that, you'll be able to shut all those doubters down. And the people that said, oh, it's easier said than done, they're going to ask you, how did you do it? Can you help me? And what I tell people about this is that I believe this particular phrase can be used to push you forward. Just like I do, or just like I use it, because you have to understand that with your hard work, you're going to achieve whatever you want. You're going to literally show others that it can be done. You're going to show yourself that it can be done. And while others are watching you, expecting you to fail, and telling you, oh, it's easier said than done, you'll never achieve it, what they're doing is that they're stalling. They're holding themselves back. And all they're doing is watching you succeed. And while you're succeeding, they're falling behind. So just keep going. Don't let those doubters hold you back. Keep going. Show them that this particular phrase means nothing to you. Show them that. Show them that, yes, it's easier said than done, but with the right mindset, with the right work ethic, with the right support system, and with the right motivation behind you, and discipline, and everything that you need to achieve your goals, you have been able to accomplish it. And nothing will stop you. Not a phrase, not a mindset, not a person, not an obstacle. No freaking obstacle that gets in front of you will be able to stop you. Because this particular phrase, it's easier said than done, it's pushing you forward. It actually makes me mad every time I hear it. It doesn't make me angry, but it just makes me mad because it tells me that there's going to be an obstacle in front of me and I want to crush those obstacles, I want to go through those obstacles, it doesn't matter what it is. If it's a language barrier, I'm going to go through that barrier. If it's a mindset barrier, I'm going to go through that mindset and change my mindset. That's the beauty of this. And that's what I wanted to talk about this, because with everything that's going on right now, I have seen and heard so many people use this particular phrase, and I really believe that this phrase used in the wrong context is holding you back. But if you use it in the right context where it's like, you know what? Yes, it is easier said than done. And I'm going to prove that it can be done. Instead of stopping short of your goal and saying to yourself, yeah, it's easier said than done, so I'm not going to do it. You see what I mean? That's pretty much what people are doing. And I know we're going through a lot. Everybody's going through something. And that's why I want to remind you that if you're going through something, you also have to do something to change it. You have to do something to get through those obstacles. And when you do decide to do something, you're going to achieve things that you never thought were possible for you. And you're going to feel good about yourself. You're going to feel accomplished. You're going to even say to yourself, gosh, I never thought I could do this, but I did it. Let's see how far I can go. Let's see how far I can push myself. And you're going to become the person you wanted to become from the beginning, from the start. And that's a wonderful feeling. And that's what I wanted to share on today's episode. Thank you for listening. Thank you for the growth and the feedback. Remember to share, like, and subscribe. We are on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The link is in the episode's description. And if you want to send me your questions so I can actually answer them on the podcast, you can email them to me at bjordanthebadinfluence@gmail.com. And here are my final thoughts. Don't let everyday phrases bring you down. Prove to yourself that you can use those phrases to push you forward. And have a great day.